Alright YouTube, so if you guys aren't aware, here on the channel I occasionally do prediction videos for WWE pay-per-views, namely the big four, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, Survivor Series, and Royal Rumble. Now I'm very aware that WWE is scripted, so predictions are kind of odd, but some of these things are based on rumors that I've heard and things that I think are going to happen. It is very different for the channel, but it's something that I've watched pretty much all my life, so I like doing videos on this shit occasionally. So with that out of the way, here are my predictions for SummerSlam 2017. So there are currently 12 matches for the SummerSlam card. They're in no particular order other than the first two being pre-show, and the very last one's going to be the Fatal 4-Way match for the Universal Championship. I do believe every single title is being defended on this card. There could be more matches added. They kind of do that shit on the fly sometimes, but we're just doing the ones that we know of so far. First up, we have the pre-show matches, and we're starting with Akira Tozawa versus Neville for the Cruiserweight Championship. Surprisingly, for some reason, this past week, they've scheduled a couple of the matches on Raw and SmackDown that are actually going to be on SummerSlam, and they did this with Neville and Akira Tozawa, and they actually had the title on the line, and for some goddamn reason, Tozawa won. I really don't know what the purpose of this was. It just really doesn't make any sense to me, but I'm assuming since Akira Tozawa just won it, he'll probably win again against Neville during the kickoff. Next, we have New Day versus the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. I really don't understand why this is on the pre-show. They put on some fantastic matches, they had a great rivalry, feud so far, so it seems kind of odd that this is on, like, the kickoff shit that's for free. You can watch the show on YouTube and stuff. Just seems kind of odd that it's for free. Now, I'm not entirely sure which ones are actually wrestling. I know, judging by this picture, it looks like it's going to be Big E and Xavier. I know for sure that Big E is going to be in the match 100%. I just don't know if it's going to be Xavier Woods or Kofi Kingston. This last week on SmackDown, the Usos beat Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston in just a regular tag team match. So with them now adding Big E to the match instead for the titles, I could see that the New Day, fucking retaining, because Big E's a beast. He's a big fucking dude. They can't really do the things that they do to the smaller guys, because Big E's a big muscle-bound guy. So I could see the New Day retaining. Next, we move on to the main card. We'll start the women's matches because, let's be honest, women's wrestling in WWE is fucking garbage. They're usually just filler matches. They're bathroom breaks. So first we have Natalya versus Naomi for the women's title, for the SmackDown women's title. I really don't care. I'm not invested in this match or this feud. I could see Naomi retaining. She's actually a very talented women's wrestler, and Natalya's fucking boring. I don't give a shit what people say. They say she's a good worker, she's a good women's wrestler. She's fucking boring to me, and I'm uninterested in her, and it would just be suicide for her to be the women's champion. Next, we have Alexa Bliss versus Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's title. This could actually be a decent match. They put on some alright matches in the past, especially Sasha Banks. So this could actually be somewhat interesting. As for who's going to win it, it's kind of up in the air for me. I can see Alexa Bliss retaining. They really seem to push her strong. She's been the Women's Champion on both Raw and SmackDown. She got the Raw Women's title pretty soon after she got drafted. But I can see Sasha Banks. She's a fan favorite. She's popular. There's a big underlying story of her versus Bayley, inevitably, one of them turning heel or whatever, turning on the other one for maybe a WrestleMania match or something. So I could see her getting the title. That'd give them a reason to eventually fight sometime down the road. As for who would turn heel out of those, I'm not sure. I'm going to go with Alexa Bliss on this one, simply because I am undoubtedly attracted to her. She's the most attractive chick in WWE, but I wouldn't be surprised if Sasha wins. Next, we have Big Show versus Big Cass with Enzo Amore in a goddamn shark cage above the ring. This is a pre-show match if there ever was one. There's two actual good matches on the pre-show that should be on the main card. This bullshit somehow made it to the main card. I'll never goddamn understand. I'm not going to give you a prediction on this one because I don't give a fuck either way. The only real beneficial thing is if Big Cass wins. So, you know what? I guess I'll say Big Cass because Big Show winning means nothing. Next, we have the Demon Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt. According to Monday Night Raw, from what Finn Balor said and what they actually showed on the graphic for this match, it is supposed to be the Demon King version of Finn Balor. Generally, this is another one of the matches they had on Raw that it made no sense. They had Bray Wyatt versus Finn Balor on Raw when it's supposed to happen at SummerSlam. Didn't make any goddamn sense. But I do believe that Bray Wyatt got the upper hand because he poured the bucket of blood or whatever it's supposed to be on Finn Balor. And whoever gets the upper hand on the go-home show before pay-per-view tends to be the one that loses. Plus, it's a pay-per-view. Bray Wyatt generally loses at pay-per-views, so I'm just going to go with Demon King Finn Balor. Next, we have Randy Orton versus Rusev in just a singles match. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, Randy Orton's my favorite wrestler, probably of all time, but he's kind of stale these days, and this feud has nothing behind it. It literally stems from Rusev beating Chad Gable on SmackDown, and then got on the mic demanding competition. Orton came out and said, I'll wrestle you at SummerSlam, and that's literally where it started from. This could have been a decent feud. They're both badass workers. They could put on probably a really, really good match. And, Rusev hasn't really done a whole lot since he came back. So this could have been a great feud and great match, but it just kind of stems from nothing. Like, there's really no story behind it. So I really don't care. Orton could handle the loss just because it's Orton. He's been wrestling for over a decade now. He has the lineage. He can take losses here and there. Rusev is still kind of the younger guy. He's only been in WWE for a couple years, on the main card at least. So he benefits more from a victory, so I'm going to go with Rusev. Next, we have John Cena versus Baron Corbin, and I could bitch about this. I can make my own video about this, bitching for a goddamn hour on WWE booking. Just to give you a bit of a history lesson, Baron Corbin won the Money in the Bank briefcase earlier this year during the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Now, if you don't know what WWE stuff, the Money in the Bank briefcase guarantees you a title shot at any point in time. So, if the champion that you're trying to get the title from gets done doing a hardcore match, barely sneaks out a victory, you can run down, cash it in, and fight them then and there and win the title in an easy fashion. That's generally the idea behind Money in the Bank. Well, this past Tuesday on SmackDown, Baron Corbin cashes in and literally loses in 5 seconds. He cashes in, gets a quick distraction on him, gets rolled up in about 5 seconds, and loses his Money in the Bank briefcase opportunity. And it's fucking frustrating and stupid and shitty booking. I could bitch about that in its own video forever. Now, from what I've heard, this is punishment for shit Baron Corbin's done backstage on Twitter, talking shit to fans, people that are in the military, which is a big no-no when it comes to WWE. So it's kind of a punishment. So I've heard that that's the reason he lost the Money in the Bank in such a fashion. But I've also heard that he might be losing it like this because it's going to start him on a monster heel run. Because he lost it in such an embarrassing fashion, being pissed off at John Cena, that he may come out during SummerSlam and just dominate and destroy John Cena, which would really put him over, make him look good, especially since Cena's supposed to be going to Raw after SummerSlam. So if you're gonna, usually when you're on your way out, you put somebody over. So I could see him letting Baron Corbin get the victory on him. But it's John Cena, and John Cena has creative control over his character, and he could want the win. So I really don't know where to go in this one. Don't be surprised if Cena wins. He's known to bury people in the past. But I'm gonna go with Baron Corbin because it's the more interesting story. I actually had to come back and edit this part of the video because I forgot to add that the reason why this is so bad too is because Baron Corbin lost Money in the Bank, which eliminates that possibility at all from SummerSlam that there could be a cash-in, because Shinsuke Nakamura versus Jinder Mahal is probably going to be a kind of a bad match, and neither one of them are really that good to be a champion right now, and it was just that underlying story of maybe Baron Corbin will cash in and we could have a decent guy as the champion, but it's not even possible now. Next, we have AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens for the United States Championship with Shane McMahon as a special guest referee. Now, this has been a pretty decent feud so far. It's a little annoying. They've kind of tossed the title back and forth, which is a little, you don't want that with the title because it kind of loses credibility. But they do put on some decent matches. They haven't put on an amazing match yet, which they could be saving for SummerSlam. This easily has potential for match of the night. It could be a potential match of the year candidate. AJ Styles and Kevin Owens are fucking amazing wrestlers. So this could be the best match of the night easily. But I'm going to go with Kevin Owens getting it back just because they've kind of thrown it back and forth here and there. AJ Styles has accidentally hit Shane McMahon 2 or 3 weeks in a row. So I could see maybe Shane McMahon doing a little bit of dirtiness, making sure that Kevin Owens wins or something like that. Or maybe AJ Styles accidentally hit him again. So for that reason, he lets Kevin Owens win or something like that, Plus, AJ losing the titles and potentially Shinsuke Nakamura getting the main title could kind of set seeds for them to eventually feud, because everybody wants to see AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Even better if it's for the title, so. Next, we have Jinder Mahal versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the WWE Championship. Easily will probably be the worst match of the night. It's not that Shinsuke Nakamura is necessarily a bad wrestler, he's just kind of different. And Jinder Mahal is just kind of stale. He's just your kind of slow big man. Doesn't have any really explosive or crazy moves. Now, Shinsuke Nakamura does, but he doesn't really put on great matches with a lot of people. It's got to be a good person opposite from him in the ring to have a great match. Look at Samoa Joe and Bobby Roode and others. He puts on great matches as long as the person across from it is a great wrestler as well, and Jinder Mahal is not that. I really don't know on this one, guys. Jinder Mahal's the champion simply because WWE was pushing into the India market. There's a billion people in India, so they're trying to get those people to watch the product. That's the only reason at all that Jinder Mahal is the champion. So I don't know if they're going to drop the title just yet on him, but I could see Shinsuke. He's more interesting. I really don't care either way. Next, we have Sheamus and Cesaro versus Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins for the Raw Tag Team titles. Essentially, the Shield reunion minus Roman Reigns. This was actually a nut they blew on fucking Raw again this week. Because the rumor was that they weren't going to do the Shield fist bump until after they won the titles at SummerSlam. But they did it anyway on Raw after they got the upper hand over Sheamus and Cesaro. Dean and Seth were in the middle of the ring and they both did the Shield fist bump. Kind of annoying that they wasted that on just their fucking Raw. But For storyline purposes, I could see Seth and Dean winning. I mean, there's some of the top singles competitors in WWE currently, so they come together, it's like they got to be unbeatable, right? And they used to be in a tag team together, so they know each other very well. On the opposite side, they could lose, which signifies that they do need Roman Reigns to actually be as strong as they once were. So who knows where this is going to go. I'm going to go with Dean and Seth on this one. This also has potential for match of the night candidate just because, for one, Cesaro and Seth Rollins are just phenomenal athletes. Dean and Sheamus aren't bad. They're just not as good as the other two, but just because of all the people involved, it could be match of the night. And last but certainly not least, which is almost definitely going to be the main event for the SummerSlam 2017 pay-per-view, is the Fatal 4-Way match for the Universal Championship between Brock Lesnar, Braun Strowman, Samoa Joe, and Roman Reigns. This is definitely another match of the night candidate, just because of all the people involved can put on great matches, given the right motivation, the right story, the right kind of match, they can have great matches. And the fact that it's a Fatal 4-Way, which means they're all involved, just adds to that potential. Now this match could go so many different ways. Each of these guys would be credible champions, some better than others, of course. The most obvious one is Brock Lesnar retaining. Brock Lesnar hardly ever loses, but these are the types of matches that he can lose because there's multiple people involved. He doesn't actually have to be pinned to lose the title, so it's an easy way for Brock Lesnar to lose. The story is that Paul Heyman said that if Brock loses in this match, then him and Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman are leaving WWE, which sets up for the real-life story of Brock Lesnar fighting John Jones in UFC. So a lot of people are speculating that that's what's going to happen, but it could be a swerve. WWE is aware that their fans know that this is supposed to potentially happen, so they could be using that in the story and swerve us all and Brock Lesnar retains. The other option, the one that I want to happen, is Braun Strowman actually winning, because they built him up as a perfect monster over the past year. He's been like the one thing WWE has booked right over the course of the past year since he went solo and broke away from the Wyatt family. He has been just great. He's put on some fantastic matches with Roman Reigns, so it's going to be interesting to see if he'll actually win. Plus, they've been teasing a Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman thing for quite some time now, and this will actually be a chance for them to face off in the ring. It may not be one-on-one, but it could still be very interesting. Next, we have Samoa Joe, who is definitely a credible person to be the Universal Champion. Him and Brock Lesnar had a kind of a great feud. It wasn't that long, but it was good for how short it was. They had a decent match at the last, the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view. It was a pretty decent match. Samoa Joe is one of the best people on the mic. He's definitely one of the best workers in the ring, so he could be a great champion. And rumor has it that Paul Heyman is backstage advocating for him to be the next Universal Champion. Backstage IRL, he wants Samoa Joe to be the next champion, which to me, if that's true, signifies that Brock Lesnar is going to lose this Sunday, and Samoa Joe would be a great one to win the title. And last and potentially least is Roman Reigns. It's fucking Roman Reigns, dude. He's like the new John Cena. Legitimately, they want him to be the next John Cena. He wins most matches these days. He beats 2 or 3 people at a time. It wouldn't be surprising if Roman Reigns was the one to win the Universal Championship this Sunday. And I wouldn't be totally against it depending on the story. There's a big rumor that Seth and Dean might win the tag team titles, the Shield reunited so that they're able to win the titles. And since this is a Fatal 4-Way match, no DQ, there's rumor has it they might come out to help Roman Reigns win the title, back him up. That way it's 3v3 technically. And then the Shield reunites, whereas Roman's the main champion and they're the tag team champions. And the Shield finally reunites after 3 years. And I gotta be honest with you guys, I'm one of the people who doesn't really like Roman Reigns either, just because of the booking and shit. But I would not be against this. There's been rumors of the Shield reunion since they broke up, essentially, talking about them a couple years down the road reuniting. And I would be happy to see that. I love the Shield. I miss when those 3 used to run together. It was fucking awesome. Raw was always interesting, so I would love to see this happen. I don't particularly care for Roman Reigns as the champion, but if it means the Shield reunites, I gotta be honest, I kind of want to see that. And it might be a way to get Roman Reigns over, since they want him to be the babyface, the one that people cheer for and all that shit. And one way to do that is to team him back up with the Shield. And those are my predictions, based on some rumors and some of my own speculation for SummerSlam 2017. I really don't know how much my subscribers fuck with WWE. This is more videos that I like to do anyway. And maybe some of you guys are out there watch WWE as well. It is very popular. So let me know your thoughts below if you have any different predictions, if you agree with my stuff, what you think is going to happen this year at SummerSlam. Anyways, if you want to enjoy the video, guys, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Turn on notifications. Follow me on Twitter. Links to my social networks are in the description and in the outro. Later, guys.
To conclusions, all the things that we thought we were losing. I'm a ghost and you know this. That's why we broke up in the first place. 'Cause I want you.